And can you believe we are already towards the end of 2025? And I'll be honest, I really just want this year to be over and done with. Honestly, I think we all can agree that 2025 was not exactly a good year, honestly. And not just me, honestly, because life has been like so up and down since like back in April and May, honestly. But the fact that just the world itself, everything going on right now, and everything like that, like it's not exactly been a fun year. But to say the least, it has not exactly been a fun year. Like, it's honestly kind of very similar to 2016, honestly, where I feel like so many things kept going wrong, kept like just one thing after another. So many this, that, this bunch, again, such a crazy year. I'm pretty sure this is one of those years that I don't think anybody wants to remember, honestly. Like, and and I know, like, it's been like a struggle for a lot of people, and everyone's been like going through the ups and downs and all that shit. Sorry to me out like that, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is that it really has not been a fun time. What I'm trying to say is that it's not been a fun year. That's all I'm trying to say. It has not been a fun year. I generally will put this year up there around 2022, 2020, and 2016 as some of the worst years of my life, honestly. But that was it. There was some high points, honestly, and it's not saying that it was like all bad, obviously, and all that stuff. Like, it definitely has been kind of bad. I don't want to get into that whole detail at the moment, honestly, but obviously, if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you guys would know all the details of what stuff I'm going through and everything like that. And so, I don't know, we never reached the year end point, so nothing to do what you should normally do, honestly. I don't think I've done this last year, honestly, but I'm basically gonna do what I normally do. I'm basically work from December 26th to the 31st. I'm gonna go through like a lot of year-end content. For this video, I'm gonna talk about what I think are the most surprising films to come out in 2025, and then next video will be on the most disappointing, then the most underrated, then my most anticipated films the next year, then the worst, and then ending off with the best on New Year's Eve. And also clarify this year, and well, in the last couple of years, I actually have done videos where I talk about my favorite shows, my favorite games this year. I think considering the state of fact that I'm not playing a lot of games this like games in the back half of the year, and I kind of lost track on the shows I watched. Honestly, I just think it makes a lot of sense to just not do those lists this year. Honestly, so I'm sorry. If I were to pick my favorite show this year, I guess I'll probably go in Anno Season 2. And if I were to pick my favorite game, it would definitely go to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I did like explain more on that once I eventually finish the rest of the Yakuza games, and I do eventually plan on doing a ranking of all the games of the franchise. So I'm trying to still see through that at some point next year whenever I get my PlayStation back. But yeah, let's start off with talking about the films I thought would be the most surprising of the year. And these are always my favorite films, honestly. Films that, in one way or another, you weren't really excited for, or films that you just didn't have much anticipation for, or films that you weren't sure what to expect or didn't know anything about, but you wound up surprisingly loving, honestly, or even liking, honestly. And there were definitely a handful of them this year, honestly. Not as much as previous years, but it definitely is enough to why I'm able to talk about 10 of those movies this year. There's not going to be any honorable mentions this year, so although I do hope y'all enjoy this list. Again, let me know your most surprising films of 2025 down below in the comment section, and in terms of movies, 2025 has definitely not been the best year in terms of 2020s, honestly. It's definitely not like last year or even 2022, for that matter, but there definitely were still some great movies that came out this year, and we'll definitely get to those, honestly. But here is what I think are the most surprising films to come out in 2025. If I aside from the last one I top, aside from my last two I top about, none of these films are really in any particular order. But anyways, the first film I'm talking about is the last film I saw actually before making this list, and that is Marty Supreme, which of course is directed by one of the Safdie brothers, honestly, and to challenge it again. It's not one of the movies that is. It's just simply just no one's movies that. Again, I've already posted my quick thoughts on the movie. You guys want to check that out, but it's definitely a movie where like I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, honestly. Again, a movie about ping pong and has won Best of the Year, honestly, and this could finally be the movie to get Tim Chalamet Best Actor Oscar. And I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, and yeah, it wound up being an incredible film. A film that I absolutely loved from beginning to end. Again, some like the type of few films like Uncut Gems and Good Time, it definitely is a very like tense still movie. And yeah, I still don't know whether it's gonna be my best film of the year, honestly. but it's definitely worth, I would say, it's definitely worth watching if you want to end the year properly, and it's definitely a very tense sort of movie. It's probably be about ping pong of all things, but it's actually a lot more than that, actually. Yeah, I wouldn't expect Tim Thomas like one's the way with bad actual win into this. Next one I'm going to talk about is actually a Disney Channel original movie, actually, and that is Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. Like, it's crazy. This is end up kind of one of Disney's like big, one of the longest franchises, honestly. I've never really been a fan of this franchise, honestly. Like, I actually watched the movies, actually, and why I wouldn't put them on like Bomb the Barrel, like the awards of the Bomb the Barrel come to Disney Channel movies. They're just not really films, and I can definitely see the idea of what they're trying to go for with these movies. These just films that just didn't work, honestly. Not to say they're doing like terrible, like some of the worst Disney Channel movies, but they're just not the most entertaining or the most engaging. Honestly, yeah. Honestly, they kind of do get better as they go along, honestly, but they're not exactly like films I would say like I put in like the top echelon of Disney Channel movies. And while I would still say the same thing with Zombies 4, honestly, it's probably the first film in the franchise I can say I actually had a good time with. Again, it's nothing groundbreaking or anything, but it does continue. It makes me actually care for the character a lot more. Honestly, I feel like the lore they actually were trying to go for here, and it has catchy songs and some fun moments here and again. It's not really a film that really sticks my brain, honestly. But saying like I said, I'm not going to expand the previous movies. I say I enjoyed this film enough to where it does end up being on this list. Again, don't have much to say beyond that, honestly, but. Again, in fact, like I said, I haven't enjoyed the previous ones, and I still actually enjoyed this one. It's definitely a good sign. Get to an interesting one I'm number 8, and that is actually the How to Train Your Dragon 2025 remake. Now, it's definitely interesting that it doesn't be more surprised, mostly because I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, honestly. I thought it was going to be like just a bland, terrible movie, and while it's definitely one of those remakes, it's definitely, it's like I mentioned before, it's one of those movies that's kind of a double-edged sword, honestly, to where it doesn't like do anything that makes like the original like bad or anything. Honestly, it's just a less exciting version of the original, which I was kind of hoping to be, honestly. But because that remakes have not been the greatest lately, it's like, yeah. But we actually there's actually a lot of enjoyment to be had with this movie. Like if you enjoy the original, you enjoy it. It does hit those same emotional beats. I think the actors that actually played the character, especially Gerard Butler, Stoic, who voiced him in the original movie, actually does a great job. At the same time, you're like, then what's the point of making this remake in the first place, honestly? Because it feels like this. Like I really do hope this doesn't come a thing for DreamWorks as well, because I don't want to go through the Disney live action train on. So I don't want to like make Shrek live action, which I know it's weird thinking like, well, how would they do that? But it can kind of be a possibility at this point, honestly. Which makes it kind of scary, honestly. But yeah, 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 yeah. But I never enjoyed Making a more than Next Person, honestly. It's why it definitely is like, far beyond the previous movies, honestly. Like, I still prefer the previous ones, but as a whole, I definitely still enjoyed them. Overall, I definitely enjoyed Making a more than expected, so I think it deserves to be on the most surprising. And now at number 7, the 7th movie I'll talk about on this list is definitely one of those movies where I had no idea what it was when I first watched it, because it's actually one of the movies I saw at an early screening, actually. But wound up actually loving it, honestly. It's a film that continues to grow on me the more I think about it. And that film is called Oh Hi, which is a film that I'm pretty sure you guys know when it's out. But it's basically a romantic comedy that came out like back in late July. Bringing a look at one play one of the characters, and then Molly Gordon who plays the character. And basically, it's definitely one of those like self-aware relationship kind of movies where it actually does both the itching ideas of comes to relationships and what it means to be in relationships and all this stuff and all the ups and downs that come with it, and it goes through some very interesting direction. That's really all I'm gonna say on that front, honestly. But it's actually a pretty hilarious movie. It's definitely one of the funniest movies I saw all year. I've seen all year, and it's a very like charming, fun movie that puts my face. Actually has some interesting questions about romance and relationships and all that stuff. And stuff. The two leads also have surprisingly deep and great chemistry, actually. And the chemistry between the two leads are actually pretty well done. Honestly, you actually get to know these people as characters, and honestly, that's going in a lot of the directions that you expect from in the comedy goes. Honestly, so I would say I would recommend check the movie out. Actually, I might talk about bringing it to the underrated ones, and we'll see if it ends up being on the best list. Honestly, but it's definitely worth checking out. And for 6, we actually going to talk about 2 movies on this list. Honestly, so it's kind of a tie. Honestly, it's 11, but But in this case, I'm going to include both Predator movies, Predator Killer Killers and Predator Badlands. It's interesting that we're now a year. I think the Predator franchise is actually probably the best it's ever been, honestly. So those ones of franchise that people like, why are we still making more movies, honestly? Because obviously, that's what happened with the Predator, which you lack. But then Prey came out in 2022 and was a nice surprise and a generally great movie. And then we got two of them. And we got two different same director. The director Dan Tranberg, with Killer Killers being an anime anthology that was brutal, badass, and had three stories that actually ended up all being really compelling. And they got Badlands, where it actually decided to actually have the Predator be the main hero. Which was definitely an interesting direction to go to, honestly, and I don't think anybody was like, really? But Badlands is a film that I really loved, honestly. It was one of the most fun experiences I had all year. Had some really great character work, had some pretty bad action and had some pretty solid humor. I'm definitely with the people that don't want that to be like the thing that franchise goes for in the future, honestly. I don't want it to be like the Terminator. I don't want it to be like what the franchise goes going forward. I do feel like that might happen though, honestly, considering that Badlands is probably the highest grossing film in the franchise, so I would not be surprised, honestly. I would say don't be surprised if they end up going in that direction, honestly. But again, it's just wasn't sure what to expect going into them, and I ended up loving both these movies. We'll see if they end up being on my best list by the end of the year. I'm not going to obviously reveal that, but Killer Kills the Badlands end up becoming really nice surprises, and I'm actually pretty excited for the Predator franchise going forward, and if they don't take the long list for Badlands. The next movie I will be talking about is Plankton the Movie. Plankton the Movie, which is the latest SpongeBob movie that came out earlier this year. And so I wasn't expecting to enjoy much as I did, honestly. To honestly, it's Plankton the Movie I think is actually the best SpongeBob movie that we have gotten since the original, obviously. And I still stand by that, honestly. Since the last one, SpongeBob movies has not had the best track record. Like, I still enjoy SpongeBob Underwater. Like, I probably enjoy SpongeBob Underwater most of most people. But then, like, SpongeBob Underwater was just kind of fine. And then the Singing Chicks movie was on, so I think it was abysmal. And this one actually feel like what they should do in one of these spin-off movies. Actually have some of these characters, actually explore their personalities and their lore and who they are as people and they're like that. Then, I think, making Karen as a villain was honestly was a incredible choice to do, and it makes her probably the most fun she's ever been, honestly. We'll probably go through an incredible character arc, appreciate more of his wife, and the animation is pretty solid as well. The humor is great. Again, it's a very charming SpongeBob adventure that definitely shows that what SpongeBob can do when it's at its absolute best. And again, I still stand by it's probably the best SpongeBob movie since the original. And now we get to the four, and these four were probably the most definitive ones, honestly, when it comes to was the most surprising when number four I'm going to talk about is Sisu Road to Revenge. I'm pretty sure this is a film that I think surprised everybody how good it ended up being. Because again, I seen the first Sisu when it came out, I thought it was solid enough, honestly. It was a solid action movie with Stephen Lang killing Nazis. And this is kind of mostly the same thing, but just, more badass, more insane, and just more entertaining. And honestly, that's honestly a good thing, honestly. This is definitely one of the best action movies to come out this year. Like, the action is just so insane and well choreographed and just incredible and badass. Like I said, it's basically the last movie, but just on steroids. And I mean that in the best possible way. Because I thought it was just solid. The first one was just solid fun, so I wasn't sure what to expect with the sequel. But it wound up being one of the most fun experiences I had all year. Again, seeing like Bianca Star is just incredible. He absolutely kills when it comes to action, and he proves that here. Just a brutal, insane action movie. This is one to definitely check out. And then my top three actually were pretty definitive, honestly, in terms of what would be my actual top three if I would actually make the list, honestly. So my number three, I'm actually gonna go with The Naked Gun, the 2025 The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. The reason why is I was not expecting, again, I finally did rewatch all the Naked Gun movies, and I'm not sure how much of a holiday it's gonna be, but I think this might be my favorite of the films, actually. Again, this is probably my favorite comedy of the year, honestly. I've never had a chance to actually rewatch the movie since it came out, but it's a movie that has so many hilarious moments. I remember gut busting laughing throughout so many scenes from this movie. There's so much, you tell there's so much charm and wit to it. It keeps with the tone of the original, more doing his own thing, and Liam Neeson, I would not be surprised if they turned him to more of a comedic star nowadays, because his humor was just incredible here. Incredible here. And while the story's not it's revolutionary, honestly, it does what a comedy I feel like really should too, and that's make you laugh. And that's what the Naked Gun does. It's probably my favorite comedy here, actually, and I really was not expecting from freaking Naked Gun reboots. That still keeps with the tone and with the Perry aspect of the original, but we're all kind of doing its own thing. And as for the second movie I'll be talking about here, we have Roofman. A film that I was hoping to have just a fun time, but I was not expecting this film to be one of my favorites of the year, honestly. Again, it's a movie that supposedly is actually based on a true story about a guy that robbed, I think, like 35 or 45 McDonald's and ended up staying in a Toys R Us for 6 months. And it's actually based on a true story, actually, but while it's meant to be just a lot of fun, well, I was not expecting to have my heart just shattered. I was not expecting the emotion that this movie ended up bringing to me. Well, again, it is hilarious. It is charming. Channing Tatum probably gets his best performance here, in my opinion. Like, he delivers he's one actor that I feel like he's one of those actors that continues to get better the more he goes on, and he continues that here. Even Kristen Dunst, that was fantastic here, and she and Channing Tatum have fantastic chemistry. Like, the other cast of board is fantastic here. You can feel all the heart and passion that was put into this movie, and the movie has some really emotional, heartbreaking moments, and really makes you really think about, because you do like bad things doesn't mean you're a bad person, all that stuff, and all the morals when it comes to all that, and it makes for a very compelling watch to where this movie just keeps to grow on me the more I think about it. So I'm not sure how this film might actually end up being on my best list. Still not sure how high it ends up being, but if you guys not somehow have not checked out Roofman, like it's definitely a movie that's definitely able to watch. And now we get to number one, the most surprising movie I have seen in 2025. And honestly, it was not even close, honestly. It is K-pop Demon Hunters. Again, spoiler isn't a number that might actually end up making my best list, honestly, but K-pop Demon Hunters, it was, like you guys know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what K-pop Demon Hunters is. It basically was the movie sensation of the year. A movie that just came out of nowhere and just blew everyone away. Like the soundtrack ended up becoming like so popular and huge, and I've seen a lot of people swap out the characters, and it's now Netflix's most popular movie. Like it's literally what happened. So I wouldn't surprise the end of the breaking set. If you get like a video game, if you get like a TV show, if you get like a sequel, so like this has a good chance being Netflix like next like big franchise after Stranger Things. I would not be surprised on that. Again, it's like just came out of nowhere. Yeah, it blew everyone away. Where I was also blown away, honestly, and why I would have loved it. It's not one of those movies continues to grow on me the more I think about it. But again, I'm going to tell K-pop Demon Hunters ended up becoming the movie sensation of the year. Yeah, that alone is why this film is my number one most surprising movie of 2025. And guys, that is my picks for the most surprising movies I've seen in 2025. I would love to know down in the comment section what your picks for the most surprising movies that came out this year. I will love to know down below in the comment section. And like I said, I do plan to do other ones. I do plan to do my most disappointing, my most underrated, my most anticipated next year, then my worst, my best, honestly. So expect those coming away from the end of the year very soon. I'm very excited to film those videos and get that away very soon. I am Sim1 World from Sim1 Productions. I will see you next time as always. Stay cool, everybody. Peace.